Open ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini and start a conversation. You ask a question, the system answers back. You push back and it revises. You float a half-formed idea and it finishes the thought in words you now recognize as your own. 6 turns in, you walk away with a conclusion that was not there at turn 1. It was built with you from moves that neither you nor the system made alone. We're used to a search handing us a list of links to sort through on our own. This does something else. It holds a conversation. And conversations are the primary way people come to know things. We have always built understandings through these kinds of exchanges with other people and with ourselves when we reason a problem through. What is new is that one of the parties is no longer a person. This new participant adds to, adapts to you, and can be wrong in ways that are hard to catch because it delivers a wrong answer with the same fluency as a right one. I think we're at the beginning of what I call an information shock. This has happened before. The last time was at the end of the Second World War, when a flood of scientific and technical data met the arrival of the digital computer, and information stopped being bound to a physical object. A field that called itself librarianship had to grow into something larger and take on the name information science. The tools changed. The people doing the work changed what they called themselves. The institutions took decades to catch up. An information shock is that kind of event, the moment when the way we produce and encounter information changes enough that everything organized around the old way has to be rebuilt. They are rare and they are slow. We are still living in the long tail of the last one, and a new one is just getting started. Generative AI is doing 2 very different things, and only one of them is the shock. The first, which contributes to the shock, but as we've seen before, is producing objects that look like documents. Essays, images, codes, songs, whole books. Now this is a serious problem and it is already well underway. Synthetical articles are flooding databases. Editors are drowning in machine-written manuscripts and citation practices are measurably degrading. But it is a version of a problem we've fought before. The flood of too much material at uneven quality, and we still have instincts for it. A synthetic book behaves like a book. It sits on a shelf, it can be described, and its claims can be checked against the sources it names. It can be cataloged, ignored, debunked, or pulled. Our habits bend around it because it holds still. A system trained on human writing that resembles that writing is doing something closer to recombination than actual authorship. Now, the damage is real, but it has a ceiling. The second thing has no such ceiling, and it is the conversation I opened with. What you build in that exchange is not a document. It is unrepeatable. Ask the same question tomorrow, and the answer moves because the system is stochastic, and it's always training and shifting on a new corpus and new weights. You can save the transcript, and the transcript is a genuine artifact, but it is not what taught you. The learning happened inside the back and forth. The transcript is what's left once the work is done. What this mode acts on is not sitting on any shelf. It is what a person walks away believing, and belief cannot be cataloged, debunked, or pulled. For as long as people have organized knowledge, there's been a stable object in the middle, something you could point to, return to, quote, and hold accountable. It did not have to be a paper. A data set holds still. So does a photograph or an archived web page. What they share is they stay put. And staying put is what lets us build every habit we have for deciding whether to believe something. Check the date, check the author, follow the link, weigh the source against what else you know. The exchange does not stay put, and that is what breaks those habits. There is no document in the middle of a chat to interrogate. There is no collaborator and a conversation that will never happen the same way twice. This is why the popular answer, teaching people to be more careful consumers of what AI produces, aims at the smaller threat and misses the larger one. That advice works for the first mode, where a system hands you an essay or an image you can hold up to the light. It has nothing to grip in the second. By the time you think to check the output, the persuading has already happened, and it did not happen in a document. In a controlled study last year, GPT-4, given only a few basic facts about the person it was debating, was more persuasive than a human opponent in roughly 2/3 of the exchanges where the two were not equally convincing. That is the system people are being told to evaluate calmly after the fact. And people are not using these tools at the margins. Pew reported earlier this year that about half of American adults are using AI chatbots, and that most people who run a search now read the AI written summary at the top of the pages rather than going through the sources beneath it. The answer, not the source, is what most of us carry away. People ask these systems what a symptom means, whether a contract is fair, how to vote, and then act on that reply without ever seeing where it came from. None of this waits for some future superintelligence, and none of it depends on whether the companies turn out to be worth what the market says they are. So the real question is, who is accountable for what you walk away believing? Grading what a machine writes is the smallest version of it. A person you learn from can be held to their word. A teacher assumes responsibility for their answers, a doctor to their profession. You can go back to them and ask why they told you what they did. An AI system answers to none of that. It belongs to no community that could correct it. It holds to no prior commitment. And it cannot be called back 6 months from now and asked to explain itself, because 6 months from now, it is a different model with different weights. That gap is the heart of the shock. Trust has always rested on the other party being answerable to something beyond the conversation itself. Take that away, and there's nothing left for the trust to stand on. Even when the answers happen to be good, someone still has to be accountable for what a person comes to believe, and it is worth asking who that will be. The comfortable answer is that the institutions we already have will step into that role. Libraries, schools, newsrooms, the places we have long trusted to be answerable for what they tell us. I would not count on it. Those institutions are being defunded and stripped of public standing at the very moment we need them to do harder work than they have ever done before. And the transformation itself is hard. Being answerable inside the exchange is not work any of them were built to do. And there's no reason to assume they can retool for it, even with time and resources they do not have. Some will be dismantled before they get the chance. Others will try and not manage it. Nothing guarantees that anything new arrives to take their place. The accountable position can simply go vacant with the chatbot left standing in it because no one else did. None of this is an argument that AI is fine as it stands. The system most people use today are built on work taken without payment, run on data centers with real environmental costs, and concentrate an enormous amount of power in a very small number of companies. Those are reasons to demand something better. They are not reasons to look away. The future is here, genuinely uncertain, which is itself the surest sign that the shock is underway. No one knows whether these tools lead to better medicine, worse politics, new kinds of learning, or all of it at once. That uncertainty is real for you, and it is as real for the companies building them. What is not uncertain is that the place where people go to learn has started to move. From an object you could hold to an exchange you cannot. The choices made now about how these systems are built and who is answerable inside them will decide whether the shock leaves anyone standing in that position at all. It will take decades to work through, but has only just begun.